Sitting in my bed, lost in my fears, remembering what you said, and I try to hide the truth within the mask of myself. Shows its face again, still I lie, time and time again. Will you deny me when we meet again? And I feel like I'm falling farther every day, but I know that you're there, watching over me. And I feel like I'm drowning, the waves crashing over me, but I know that you're there. It will set me free. I find truth where I found it times before. As I search for your hope, I'm finding so much more, and I try to be more like you, and I deny myself to put my heart and soul. And I feel like I'm falling farther every day, but I know that you're there, watching over me. And I feel like I'm drowning, the waves crashing over me, but I know that you're there. It will set me free. I hear your voice calling, the time has come for me. Inside this life I'm living, there's nothing left for me. My mind is slowly fading, so far away from me. Each time I start crawling, you're there watching me. And I feel like I'm falling farther every day, but I know that you're there, watching over me. And I feel like I'm drowning, the waves crashing over me, but I know that you're there. It will set me free.
30 seconds, so it seems fairly pointless, but really it is one of the best things you can do to contribute to your team. So then, the actual tips I have for the recon class. Now, I'm not a brilliant, amazing, super duper recon because I play all of the classes, but these are a few little things I've learned. And the very first thing that you're going to want to set up is your graphical options. When you're playing as a recon, good visibility is absolutely essential. And one of the best things you can do in this game to improve visibility, if you're on PC, is to turn off HBAO. Turn it off completely, and also turn off motion blur, and if you've got low frames per second, make sure you turn off the anti-aliasing option. If you do all of these things, you're going to have the right number of frames per second, at least 60, and well, you'll be able to set your resolution to make sure you can get about 60. You won't be particularly accurate sniping if you've got less than that, and you're going to be able to see people very, very clearly, and it gets rid of some of the contrast. The next thing to do is to make sure you know how to aim with a sniper rifle, and this is actually a little bit less patronizing than it first seems, because I know a lot of people are really good at sniping, but some aren't, and this is for the few who aren't. Basically, a lot of aiming down the sights with a sniper and getting on target is to do with moving your feet, as in the D and A keys on your keyboard, at the same time as aiming in with the scope. You'll find yourself a lot more accurate if you strafe to get some headshots than if you do just trying to use your mouse. because the two combined allow for far more precise actions. So which is the best bolt action rifle then in Battlefield 3? Let's start from the top with damage. The SV98 and the M40A5 are pretty much identical. They do 75 damage at close range up to 20 meters, which then drops down to 55 damage at long range. So they both will kill in 2 shots at any distance to the body. They've both got exactly the same clip size of 10, 11 if you've got one chambered. They've got the same rate of fire and seemingly the same reload speed. The M98B does 95 damage, which is significantly higher at close range, which drops then down to 59 damage at long range. It's got a far smaller clip, half the clip size of 5, 6 if you got one chambered, and the rate of fire is slower, and I think also the reload rate is slightly slower as well. The next thing to consider when choosing a rifle is how they look, because that does make quite a big difference. I personally like the way that the M40A5 looks. I think that is one of the prettiest, but then again the M98B does feel a little bit more powerful than the M40A5. The one downside of using the M40A5 over the SV98 is that it does take up quite a lot of your screen compared to the SV98. The character does hold it quite a lot higher. Now for the attachment. Basically, I always use the 12 times ballistic scope. I know in Bad Company 2 the high-powered zoom scope was lambasted, that's right, lambasted by people because they thought it was for noobs camping up on a hill, but the Battlefield 3 maps are really large and I find myself missing headshots left, right and centre without using the 12 times zoom scope. As my second attachment, I always use the pull bolt. I don't find the bipod that useful and the suppressor neither, because generally you're going to be slightly further away from people, so the suppressor doesn't help, and the bipod, you're going to get taken out by another sniper if you sat using that. As for my third attachment, basically the underbarrel attachment, I tend not to have one. I don't really find the laser sight that useful, and it sort of gives away your position, as does the tactical light. Sidearms are pretty easy to choose. Go for the G18, which does 20 to 13 damage. It is very powerful, or the Magnum, which does 55 to 24 damage. The Rex is pretty good as well. Now as for your equipment, I've tried all of the equipment, and if you're playing as a team, the SOFLAM can be very, very useful to take if you can laze for somebody with a javelin. But generally, if you're playing in a public server, other engineers will not use the SOFLAM, so I've found that you're better taking the MAV as your main piece of equipment. Because the minimap is so difficult to use, it is far better at spotting for your team than the TUGs or whatever it's called is. It's also, in the next patch, going to be used to disable mortars, so that should be pretty good fun. My one criticism of the Recon class is that it can't be used as a close range tool like it could be as effectively in Bad Company 2. Hopefully they'll change this, hopefully they'll patch in C4 explosives for recons or something like this. I hope this video was useful for you guys. I hope even if you're a good recon already, probably far better than me, there was something useful in it for you. On that note, I will see you guys in the next chapter.